it's Rock Girl Jordan, and I'm here at the Norva with John Cooper from Skillet. I'm so excited because I love y'all. Y'all are amazing.
Oh, thanks so much.
Yes, I'm happy to be here with you. So, let's get started. So you have a new single coming out, or just came out, Surviving the Game. Love the song. I absolutely love it. I
Sweet.
Listen to it all the way here. So can you tell me a little bit about the song from your perspective?
Sure. I'm so glad you like it. When you release a new song, it is so funny how much it means when somebody's like, I like your new song. You're like, oh, because you worked so hard on the thing. And you never know how somebody's going to take it. You want to try some new things, but you don't want to go so far from what you sound like that people are like, it's not even them anymore. You never know what people are going to say. So it's always satisfying to know that the song that people are embracing it. And hopefully that it already means something to them. So, I was talking to a fan the other day and coming through the line, and they're like, this song is about, to me, it's just about this and this. And I was like, that's what it's about for me too. So it's cool. I mean, I think that Surviving the Game it's aggressive. It's a bit more of an angry sounding song, a lot of energy, but it's slightly moving towards aggro. But I think that's how I feel after this pandemic. You know what I mean? I feel 18 months.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna tear a wall down if I don't get out. Get out, play some music, get back to life. Get some sort of control over my own life again. That feeling of being controlled is a really horrible feeling. When you have no autonomy, you can't be who you want to be. You can't say what you want to say. You can't live your life the way you want to live it. That's a really horrible feeling, and to some degree, literally everyone in the world has felt that at the same time. Think about that. Has there been anything in your life that the entire world has experienced all at once together?
Such chaotic mess,
Everywhere.
No,
so it's kind of weird. So that's what Surviving the Game is about. And I do hope it's inspiring to people, no matter where they're coming from or what they believe. We all have a little bit of this commonality of we're trying to survive it, get through it. So anyway, plus it's a good song for the gym. It'll get you pumped up.
Makes me pumped. So you got a new album coming out in January.
Yeah,
right?
January 14th.
Awesome. It's called Dominion, right?
Dominion.
Woo!
Is that the right name for a record?
It's perfect.
Dominion.
It's perfect. And so how is this album different from your previous releases in the past?
Also as far as being the artist, sometimes you're not very objective when you listen to yourself. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound that different. And then I'd play the album for somebody and they're like, Surviving the Game. They're like, that sounds really heavy compared to last one. I was like, is it? I'm not really aware of it because when you play concerts, everything you play has a lot of energy. And so you end up missing it. I do think that the record, if people feel that Surviving the Game is a little bit more, got more teeth, then you'll feel that way about the record. The record that's pretty indicative of what the album sounds like. It is kind of quiet in your face, very modern, but it's just kind of deep, and it's got a lot more syncopation. And so, a couple of people have said that Surviving the Game reminds them a little of Disturbed.
Love Disturbed.
Yeah, I do too. I'm like, well, I guess that makes sense because I love Disturbed. I didn't recognize that at first, but now I can hear it. It's the syncopation. Mm-hmm. I can be, I'm like, oh, I could hear that then. I'm a big fan of Disturbed and Korn and that type of stuff. And so I think that a lot of those syncopated riffs come out on the record. But lyrically, this is a very rebellious sounding record. It's very defiant. Surviving the Game is quite defiant, isn't it? Defiant against fear, right?
Yeah.
Not going to give in. And it's not just inspiring, but it's a little bit of a, fist to the system,
So I know you were saying this sounds a lot like, Disturbed and stuff. Is there any other bands that kind of, you think you starting to sound like, or kind of like that inspire you to create some of your songs and albums?
I think because I listen to so much music and I've been on tour with so many bands, I think it all comes in. Like I said, I didn't even think Disturbed until fans were saying it. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense because I'm a fan. It's probably coming out a little bit. There will definitely be things that sometimes I will write and I will be like, oh, that reminds me of, this band or this band. Now, funny enough, there is a song on the record that I specifically think does remind me of Disturbed. So who knows? Maybe there's a bigger influence than I thought. But certainly you're going to hear some Korn influence in the music. I'm a big fan. As always, you're going to hear things, though, that will remind you of Skillet. It's the way we write melodies. And those are going to be, a hodgepodge of everything from Linkin Park, all the way back to my 80s upbringing and Bon Jovi and Journey and that stuff that kind of makes Skillet, it's so melodic. Mm-hmm. Some of the songs, if you took the guitars off, they could be sung on piano,
Let's just go back and talk about, from the beginning, you becoming Skillet and you guys, forming your band. Can you guys tell me about, the group dynamic from the beginning versus now, how that all played?
From the beginning.
I know, a long time
before
ago.
you were born, unfortunately.
Probably.
Yes. All right, let's see here. So much has changed in music because... and I know I'm going to make myself sound super old. We are celebrating our 25th year in Skillet this year since our first record came out.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I don't actually feel old. I feel tough as crap. All right, so here's the thing. Yeah. Anyway, surviving the game. Anyway, think about this. This is going to be crazy.
All right.
25 years ago when my band started, there was the internet. But the internet was not, I had never really heard of the internet. It was 1996. And my guitar player at the time, he was like, I'll never forget, we recorded our first album. He's like, hey, I want to spend money. It's probably going to cost about $1,000 to get a website. And I was like, what's a website? What are you talking about? And he's explaining the World Wide Web. And I'm like, that's not real. There's no World Wide Web. It's not like a conspiracy, like a sci-fi movie. In fact, there was a movie called The Net with Sandra Bullock, probably in 1997 or something. I remember seeing it and being like, this is total science fiction, right? And my friend's like, well, it is the net. I'm like, what's the net? The World Wide Web. I'm like, you mean the net and the web? I can't keep up.
It's crazy to think now versus then, living without the internet versus. Yeah,
I know, and it's only 25 years.
Yeah.
So that should show you how fast technology is changing, and the fact that humans can't actually keep up with it. And we don't have time, and I know you probably don't care. Somebody out there may. You could talk about that for an hour from a religious standpoint, from a social scientist standpoint, from an evolutionary biologist standpoint, if you want. There's lots of ways you could talk about the fact that we're not ready for all the changes and how fast they're happening. But we won't talk about that right now. But it is interesting. So there's no internet. And so you had to you're in a van, and everywhere you went, you had to get out these huge maps. And we were playing these little towns you've never heard of, and there's these tiny roads. the whole thing is just way different. And so the internet has definitely made touring life a lot easier for dummies like me that can't read a physical map properly. And imagine going to all those festivals, and you're like, it's this dirt road or that dirt road, and you're calling.
Find it.
Yeah, you're pulling over and finding a payphone to call the promoter. I can't find the dirt road. Anyway, it's all changed, and now, but my band now, with Jen, our drummer, Seth, our guitar player. We've all been together now for 12 years. Jen's been with us for nearly 14 years, so it's quite a long period of time. And we're all family. We're just very close.
Speaking of family, Corey, your wife.
Yeah.
What is that like working with her and traveling with her since from the beginning?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many hundreds of people I've met that tell her or me, or girls or guys, they're like, I could never, ever work with my spouse. I hear it all the time.
No, I know it could be hard. That is just, crazy to me but some people make it work and some people when I see you guys on stage, you guys are just right there,
Yeah, good. We're projecting the oneness. We save the fights for backstage. No, I'm joking, but kind of not. Being together all the time is very difficult. We're always together. We lived in the bus with 12 other people and the kids. You fight in front of people. You work it out in front of people. You do the bills in front of people. You run the business. It is really hard. I think me and Corey have worked found a way to honestly, we would do it very well. But I think it's that give and take. I think it's because of core values. If your core values, if you and your spouse agree on those things, then you say, I know we can work anything out because it's all about those values. And part of that is our love for music and love for the fans. It's a love for why are we doing what we do. I personally believe that music is very spiritual. I think music helps people. Whether you're religious, non-religious, anti-religious, music is something that most people would say it has a supernatural quality to it. Something about music heals. It makes people feel good. And we need that in the world today. And so that's why I think Skillet's quite inclusive. Most everyone knows that we're a Christian band. I'm a Christian and unapologetic about that. But I don't care if the fans agree with me or not. The music, I believe, helps someone no matter where they're coming from, atheist, different religion, agnostic, whatever you are. The music, I think, brings people together, and it's a very unifying thing. That's why Skillet shows are so unifying and uplifting. The fans are so happy, and I love that about music.
And I love that. All right, my final question to you, and then we'll be done. If you were not a performer or singer or in this band at all, what would you be doing instead?
So many things I would like to do. Let's see. I have a real passion for teenagers, for the things they go through in life. And that, as we discussed a second ago, due to the rapid pace of technology and the ubiquitous nature of internet and all this, young people are going through such difficult things. And I'm sure you're aware, and listeners are probably aware, during this pandemic, depression has really skyrocketed. Suicide amongst young girls, especially, I have a teenage daughter. Suicide rates among young girls have skyrocketed. And they're being faced with things that we just weren't prepared to handle. Social media, the impact of social media, especially on girls even more than boys, is just so heartbreaking. And so I think working with young people in some situation, that could be at a church or like in an after-school program, where you have a gymnasium and you play basketball with kids and teach maybe kids, in poverty areas how to read, and teach them about loyalty and being honest and working hard. Like these great values that can help them succeed so they can transcend the places that they came from. I love that stuff. So I know that sounds maybe kind of silly, but I just love teenagers. I love kids. And I love to give people a leg up that they could make something of themselves in a world that's gone mental.
No, I love that. Well, thank you so much for talking with me, guys. John Cooper of Skillet.
Woo!